Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Making 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 14 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki clan. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Hope of the Uchiha clan. Enjoy that guys, over on Anime King. And also stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 2. And yes, if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I did have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post all the fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for helping and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode start? The intro. So the last time we left off, the name of the mysterious girl was revealed. Her name was not Urza or E as her friends call her. Her real name was Katsumi. She was going by a code name just like her father, was calling himself Mother Uchiha, as she knew who her father real was after all. She was so loyal to him she just wanted to mimic his actions, despite not having to conceal her own identity. But she was going to be rather useful in the upcoming Chunin exams. Meanwhile at Konoha, as Navi had realized that Urza was in a worse condition than she thought. She had internal wounds. If it wasn't for Naruto, she wouldn't have spotted them. Naruto had poured his chakra into her, and Snavi felt this wave. As she was able to see into the finer details, her chakra circulating Urza's body like she never examined a person before. It was different. The medical expertise was immense. As she was able to do her best though, Urza just needs some rest. Snavi decided it was time that she leave. As Naruto looked towards her as he thanked her, but she really didn't care about that, as she still hadn't forgiven him for what he did. It was then that Menma came to her. As he spoke to her, as he told her to phone her journal, she was angry at him as he brought it towards her. As it was her journal when she was younger, as she wrote about Naruto leaving, and about the Uzumaki fall, and how sad Mito was. Menma had been told that Jiraiya was his godfather. As Menma, being who he was, he didn't hold grudge against people. And he wanted Snavi to be there as well because she was a part of his family. As he also spoke about Shizune, who was so happy to be back home. But Snavi still wasn't going to stay as she made her way with Shizune. As she stopped right at the gates as she looked at Shizune, and Shizune asked her what was going on. She told her that they might stay in Konoha for a bit just to make sure her patient didn't have any side effect after the healing. Shizune was happy, delighted as they made their way back to the central compound. The next day Mikoto came by, as she and Naruto usually went out, just to roam the scenery. She arrived and she saw Urza there. She noticed the similarities between Naruto and Urza, as Naruto told her that she was a good friend of hers. They decided to meet their another scenery, another date, as she accepted that she made her way off. Urza finally woke up, as she told Naruto what has been going on since he left. All this time she had been following him. Yes, his words indeed hurt her, but she knew why he did them to send her away, so that she would not be branded as, well, someone who would help him. For her entire house to turn against her, she told him that Moshiki has taken over. He and the others had go against the king. With his support, he was able to take the king down, and he was now leading them. And the ones that didn't follow his rule, to stand up against him, he exterminated them. She had fought long and hard and she was able to escape, but not after getting badly wounded. As Naruto was surprised to hear that all of this had happened. Well, with the right support, you could overthrow the king. The king wanted to become the next Otsutsuki god as well. That is why they gathered the fruits of the plant and brought it to him. While the ones that were not efficient enough, they were allowed to take it. But all of the efficient fruits were to be brought to him, and they could not do anything against him because he had the foresight to see what they were doing at all times. But how Momoshiki pulled it off was a mystery to him, but the man had indeed taken over. Urza was worried, Knowing who Momoshiki was, his vendetta against Naruto was not done. As Naruto had told her why Momoshiki hated him so much, as Urza now understood it, but she was worried if Momoshiki came after him. But Naruto assured her that he would fight Momoshiki. This wasn't going to be like last time. He was now king, as he said. He wasn't going to have any of his subordinates fight for him. He would want to take Naruto down himself. Because everyone knew, if it wasn't for all of his supporters, Momoshiki would not have won the battle. But now he was going to reclaim that title and fight Naruto himself, as Naruto told Urza that he would handle it. He just needed her to watch over a few people for him while he was taking care of Momoshiki. Because he knew that no matter what happened, Momoshiki will come for him. Now that the king was out of the way, certain laws did not matter anymore. As Urza was able to recover, as she had made her way, she met Shizune, and also thanked Tsunade for what she did. Tsunade was still pissed off at Naruto, as Naruto went to talk to the old man. Hiruzen was shocked when he heard about the mission, as Naruto had sent Hinata, as he was sending her to interact with more influential persons so that she can get more confident in herself. As she barely stuttered, Hiruzen told him, as Naruto told Hiruzen that Urza was just an old friend. So yeah guys, was basically let's left off. You guys can search across the place for yourself. So what is to begin this new episode? Tsunade stood on top of the monument. Urza had made her number one goal to make sure that things are settled between her and Naruto, because Urza could feel how deep the hurt Naruto was. Whenever they spoke and Tsunade gave him that cold shoulder, Tsunade on the other hand was getting annoyed, and she didn't wish to speak to Naruto now, but Urza was continuously bugging her. It seems that Naruto hadn't told Urza what happened between them, and what exactly he did. So Tsunade decided to tell her what happened, given that Naruto knew her for so long, and the both of them seemed to be from the same place. Tsunade still couldn't wrap her mind around that they were from a different planet, or that wasn't something she could handle right now. After all, that was out of her league of expertise. So she told Urza what happened. Well, I can't blame him, Urza said. What? Said Tsunade, as she snapped her eyes towards her. No, that's not what I meant. Let me explain, Urza said. He abandoned me. I was just a child, and his family, and yet, he didn't even look back. Well, there's something you have to understand about him. Where we're from, compassion like what you have is not, well there. Just like how you healed me, and you did not know anything about me. If it was my people, and they saw you dying, they would mock you for being weak. They wouldn't have healed you. They didn't really get along, especially the opposite houses. If you belong to my house, and the other members saw you struggling, they will mock you and say that you are a disgrace to this house. That is how things were just run. You had special relationships here and there, and me and Naruto is an example of that. We have been best friends since we were younger, and we watch out for each other and care for each other, despite not being a part of the same house. And that was rare amongst our people. Many frowned upon us because of that, but we didn't care, because strength was the only thing that mattered. And if the two of us were to take on certain situations, most of them won't stand a chance against us. So I understand why he went away. He wasn't used to this kind of affection, but I can feel that it's hurting him deeply. Despite him smiling at Minma, despite him being cheerful that I'm okay, I can feel deep in his soul. A part of him is broken. I can feel the same thing from you as well. My sensory ability is on a whole nother level than anyone on this earth. I can tell that you're deeply hurting. Despite standing here, you've lost a lot, and it has weighed a lot on your conscience. And what Naruto did, it broke you as well. But you're not the only one suffering. To him, he's the biggest failure in the universe, because he let that happen while having the power to do so. I assure you, you're lucky that he just destroyed 3 of those nations. What do you mean, said Tsunade? Well, if it was the Naruto I know, if he wasn't held back by his emotion for the people that he loved here, he would have decimated this planet down to the last man. Tsunade looked towards Urza. The way she said it, it seems like she had no doubt that Naruto could simply wipe out this planet. Well, from what she heard happened at 3 nations, she didn't doubt his power. Is he really that strong? Asked Tsunade. Oh, he's a lot stronger than he looks. He's been holding back this entire time. I don't know what he did, but in the past few years, as he had left our home, he has gotten so much stronger, I don't even know. Well, I'm planning on having a little test between me and him to see how far he has gotten. Look, I know it won't be easy to forgive him, but all I'm saying is give him a chance. He's here now and he's trying to make up for the past. And the more that you go on hating him, you're not only hurting him, you're also hurting yourself. What, said Sneddy? I can feel how much you are hurting while doing this. Because you really have family left in this world. And yet he's there. And also, you want to bond with the young one as well. That kid, he's a sweet one. He doesn't deserve to be on the opposite side of your anger. Sneddy sighed as she took a breath. It's not like I have anything against Minma, she said. It's just hard. You know, for someone I barely know, you're a good person to talk to, said Sneddy. Well, they always said I bring out the truth in people because I'm so in-depth with emotions, said Urza with a smile, as she looked over the village. Sneddy then spoke up, your wounds. They were inflicted on a level that I'd never seen before. You were in a great battle for days, weren't you? Well, more than that, said Urza. Is something coming? Asked Sneddy. Don't worry. Your planet won't be touched. If it's more people like you, and how strong they are, how can I be sure of that? Asked Sneddy. Well, because Naruto won't let it happen. And what is he gonna do against all of your enemies? And from what you have already said, I can tell that you're strong. Far stronger than anyone here on this planet. Well, time will just have to tell, said Urza. But I assure you, you're all gonna be fine. And how do you know that, said Sneddy? Because as I said, Naruto wouldn't allow it to happen. And besides, if he's gonna be fighting, I'm gonna be fighting as well. This time will be different. Last time, I was forced to stay out of it, and he forced me as well. I would have gone against my entire race, just to make sure that he was okay. Because I don't care much for anyone else except for him. He's my best friend through and through. But he forced my hands. But this time though, I will fight with him by his side. And I assure you, your planet will not be touched. But it's just the both of you. Urza simply smiled. She looked up in the sky. Well, all we can do is hope. Am I right? She said. Time skip. Council room. As all the clan heads were gathered, they were all in there. The first one to speak up as Hiruzen had settled down was Koharu. New development has been brought to our attention. As Hiruzen sighed, as he wondered what is it now. We have been informed that the Sky Nation had resurfaced a week or so ago. And it was wiped off the map completely by Naruto himself. Yes, that is correct, Hiruzen said. Why weren't we informed about this, Homura asked. There was no reason to inform you about this. The mission was more deadly than we thought, but Naruto was able to handle it and protect his 3 Genins while doing so. He's indeed not lost any of his strength, Koharu said. And what about this new woman that has entered our village? Her features are similar to his. Although he refused to answer the question, her eyes are similar to Byakugan, is it not? Their attention turned towards Hayashi. Hayashi cursed in his mind. God damn it. You're just multiplying. First it was Naruto and then it was this woman. I am unable to tell. It's not like you will have a sit down with us and tell us any of his secrets. And it's clear that we don't have any control over him, said Hayashi, putting that statement out there, as the eyes turned towards Hiruzen. But before Hiruzen could say anything, Danzo was the one to speak up. You people do not realize the great asset that we have in our grasp at the moment, do you? If it was any of our other finest shinobis out there, them and their genuine team would have been slaughtered by the Sky Nation. But as you can see, he wiped out one of our enemies from the past without blinking an eye. Despite us not having full control over him and being able to order him around certain ways, he would fight for Konoha because his students are here that he will protect, and not to mention he's currently living in our quarters. And recently, Sneddy the Sonin has returned. The lineage is there, and they are indeed family. Although from what I've overheard, they're not on friendly terms at the moment. But I'm sure that things will sort themselves out. So Konoha indeed has a strong ally. But we are not the only one that heard about the incident at the Sky Nation. The other nations have found out about it. I'm sure due time, you will start to hear them rise up once again. But we just have to remind them about the fear of what happened the past couple of years to put them back in their place. But what if they don't go for it, said Tasumi, as she looked towards Danzo. The last time, people thought that he was just a myth, a ghost, because he went missing for so many years. And Konoha lost a lot of credibility when we were unable to produce the fine warrior that wiped out the 3 nations. And they all turned on us to create chaos, thinking that we didn't have him anymore. This could start a war rather quickly than we thought. She's right, said Shibe. And as you said, we don't have enough control over Naruto to force him to show himself to them, to put their attitude at ease. What are we gonna do? Asked Kohara as she looked towards the Hokage. As Harrison sighed, he had indeed thought about that possibility. The news was spreading around about the destruction of the Sky Nation, and the features of the young man that did it was also spreading around. There wasn't much shinobis in the nation that could wipe out the Sky Nation in one single attack, and rumors were spreading, and soon enough everyone would find out that it was Naruto. Things were going to be hectic once more. Meanwhile, in the dense forest was Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu was wondering if the world was against him or something like that. Rumors were spreading around that the wrathful god was back. Rumors, it was just speculation at this point, but there was rumors spreading around that he was back. No one had mustered up the power to wipe out a single nation so quickly since he was able to wipe out the three great nations. Kushina Uzumaki was a very powerful woman. Being the fourth Hokage, she was able to strike fear into the hearts of her enemies because of her power. But she did not go around wiping out a nation, and many doubt that she had the power to just wipe out a nation like that. But the man that did it was now back. Zetsu knew, of course, who he really was. No one else knew. And Zetsu knew that this was bad. This was really, really bad. He thought that he got rid of him, but now he had returned. And like usual, Zetsu could not do certain things, because the moment that Naruto sensed him, it was over. He wouldn't chance his luck to believe that he could get in and get out before Naruto found him. Back in the past, he was able to stay his distance away. He always waited until Naruto was gone far distance away before revealing himself. And if the truth was to be revealed that he was the one that inspired the deaths of the Uzumaki clan, his mother revival would be put on hold. If he was to be destroyed, probably never to be fulfilled ever, and he couldn't allow that to happen. But what could he do? Back in the past, things were right. He was able to manipulate things quite greatly. Now he had to do something else. But he could not go near to Konoha, fear being sensed. He was not exactly normal, given his sense of chakra. And if Naruto knew who his mother was, that would make everything even worse, because he would sense his power and he'd come after him right away. He had to do something. He had to create a plan, rather quickly. Time skip. The masked man stood in front of Nagato. So, is it true, Nagato asks. Zetsu is unable to confirm the situation, because he has not been found. But I have been to the battle site. The Sky Nation Palace was able to dwarf over a minor village that is almost the same size as Taki, and from what we've gathered from the villages, he was able to wipe it out with one blast. It seems like he's resurfaced after all these years. I've also got descriptions. White hair, blue eyes, but in the past his eyes were said to be as clear, or even clearer than a Byakugan. Could it perhaps be his son? Asked Konan as she looked towards the masked man. I never thought about that possibility, but yes, it has been 30 years. If that is the case, we need to know his intentions and what they would do towards our plans. Time skip. The masked man found himself in a dark secret base. There was candles across the wall as he came to a stop. There was a book on the table. An ancient book from the past, written by Madara Uchiha himself. The man wasn't wearing his mask as his long black hair flowed freely. As he picked the book up in his arms, Madara had wrote about the mysterious man who just appeared out of nowhere, who helped both him and Hoshirama. Not many people knew, but the wrathful god was the one that trained Madara and Hoshirama Senju, and Tobirama, and Aizuna. When the masked man found out about this, he was shocked, because something didn't make any sense. His age. From what he heard when the Uzumakis were wiped out, the man was young, seeming to be in his late 20s. But yet, Madara referred to him as an adult, when Madara was just a kid. It seems that this man had somehow gained immortality, and now he was back. The masked man sat where he was, Certain things were unknown to him. Madara did root that his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, was pregnant, but yet she was killed in the attack. But he was able to put two and two together and realize perhaps this man, the rightful god, was the father of the fourth Hokage. It would make sense. She was named after her mother, the previous leader of the Uzumaki, Kushina Uzumaki. But where has he been this entire time? Madara had summarized that this man was connected somehow to the Sage of Six Paths. He had lost connection with him. The both of them had went their separate ways after Madara chose not to follow Hoshirama when the Uchihas went against him. Despite helping and bringing peace, Madara was subjugated to be exiled. Not forcefully put out of the village, but the people started to see him as an enemy due to certain suspicions. As a man clenched his fists, as he hated what happened to Madara, he would definitely make Konoha pay for that. But at the moment, he was trying to put together this wrathful god. If he was indeed the father of Kushina Uzumaki, where was he this entire time? And if he was the father of Kushina Uzumaki, that meant he would be the grandfather of... The masked man paused. Hey, why are you all the way down here, said a voice. He turned to see Katsumi as she looked towards him. He said. She smirked at that, as she was glad that he was referring to her by her persona name. When you do enter the Chunin exams of Konoha, there's some information that I want you to gather from me. Huh? I already know that, she said. No, there's something else. Something more personal, he said to her. Meanwhile, the three Genins looked rather tired, as all of them were panting for breath. Their sensei stood there with a smile on his face, impressed by their growth. Clapping could be heard, as Naruto turned as he saw Urza walking towards him with a smile on her face. She looked rather amused. What's so funny, said Naruto. Well, I'm just clapping in amazement how you have turned into a brilliant teacher. I never thought you had it in you. I've always been a good teacher. I've been teaching you for a long time, haven't I? As Naruto saw Tsunade also followed behind her as well. But she did not look at Naruto, but her face looked rather conflicted. You mean I've been the one teaching you? I mean you've always been a knucklehead, said Urza. So, it's time. Time for what, said Naruto. Time that I make you pay. As Naruto sighed, what now, he asked. Well, I still haven't forgotten what you said to me. It hurt a lot. And what you did to Tsunade. Perhaps this could solve some of the anger you both have between you two. Of her watching me kick your ass. And not to mention I want to test how far you've come. I don't have time for this. You don't really have a choice, she said, as she released 4 of those strange white balls that surrounded them in a box and spread a barrier around them that connected at all angles. As Naruto looked towards her in annoyance, she simply gave him a smile. Come on, I need to see how far you have come. I'm serious. Soon enough, we're gonna be fighting a battle that will determine many fates, and I need to see if we'll be ready. JJ, what is she talking about? Asked Menma, as he was outside of the battle. Oh, nothing for you to worry about. She's just getting quite delusional in her old age. As Naruto reached up and caught the white ball before it hit him in the face. As Urza looked towards him with a smirk, I see the reflex has increased. Does this girl really think that she can defeat Sensei? Said Sasuke in annoyance. She's stronger than she looks, said Tsunade, as she stood there as well outside the barrier. As Menma turned his head and looked towards Tsunade with a smile. The brat had this smile on his face that made people smile. He was just so happy, it was too much. But she focused right on the back that was going on inside. Is everyone gonna be okay? Asked Hinata. Oh, don't worry. She's like my JJ sister. They won't harm each other that badly. I think they're probably just gonna test each other. But, Naruto Sensei is really strong. Wouldn't he hurt her if he really fought? That's my entire point, said Sasuke. She's just gonna lose anyway. Hey brat, quiet, said Urza. You know, it's not polite to shout at my Genins. Tell them to stop underestimating me. I mean, come on, they haven't even seen me fight yet. They're right, said Naruto. This is a waste of time. Whoa. So you've turned into a big shot, huh? Said Urza. I'm gonna make you regret those words. Well, try it, said Naruto. With pleasure, she said. As she moved forward, Sasuke was confused, as she just vanished. He activated Sharingan, as he tried to find out where she was, but he could see absolutely nothing. Naruto stood there calmly. He had to activate her Byakugan, as she saw a flicker of chakra. It was moving around the barrier so fast, her eyes could barely keep up with it. Minma, on the other hand, could see them. He could see Urza moving, but she was fast. Really fast. He watched as she brought her fist down. Everyone was surprised Naruto caught the fist in his palm, as it just materialized out of nowhere. Huh. I see you haven't been lacking their training, said Urza, as Naruto grabbed her fist and lifted her up in the air, before dropping her. Suddenly a ball appeared at her feet as she kicked it right towards his face. He lowered his head as it passed over him and went behind him, before striking towards his back jump, still holding onto her arm as he twisted her arm and threw her backwards. She flipped several times as she came to a stop. I'm impressed. Your reflex and your strength is still there. But you'll need more than that if we're gonna win this, she said. She held out her arm as several more balls came. This time she threw them. They vanished as they appeared behind Naruto. They all attacked him at the same time, as Naruto turned and raised his hand. They slammed into an invisible barrier. The next second Urza was upon him, her feet raised high in the air. As Naruto blocked it with his one arm, he was knocked back because of the force. She did not waste time to assault him. Furious of punch and kicks coming his way, but he deflected all of them with his one arm, as he still blocked off the balls with his shield that kept on forcing through. As the barrier that he was holding up started to crack, as Urza moved her fingers, the balls split as they fire across the side and boom against the barrier before coming towards Naruto. Naruto raised his hand as several rods appear around him as he fired them out. They strike into the ball. A strange confliction happened as they seemed to grind against each other. Power in the rods and the balls clashed against each other. Urza used that momentum as she placed her hand towards the ground. A pulse of chakra later and the entire ground erupted. An arm made from the earth tried to grab Naruto. He raised his arm as he blasted away with nothing but force as it crumbled away. Several golden chains shot forward from Urza's palm as they rushed towards him. Before they could reach him though, they split apart, turning in all different directions as the tip of them became so sharp it whipped through the air. They all came down on Naruto as he created a staff. He twirled as he blocked each and every one of them before throwing the staff towards her. She tilted her body as it passed her and stabbed right in the ground. Urza raised her hand as the balls went into the barrier. As Naruto looked at her confused. The last time, you held back because the village would be in panic if you did. Now, show me what you're capable of. I want to feel how far you have come, she said. As Naruto looked towards her, she was dead serious. The future is uncertain. We all know he's coming, and that is something that we cannot prevent. He will scour the place until he finds us. And you will fight him. And I will never let you fight him alone. But I want to see if we can truly do this, if we have a hope of winning. Is the barrier stable, said Naruto. She nodded. Fine, he said, as Naruto dropped his restraint. Urza stepped back outside the barrier. What's going on, said Sasuke, confused. As he saw that nothing was happening yet, that woman looked afraid, at the same time happy and excited. But Sasuke didn't see what was going on. On the other hand, Menma felt his hand shaking. What's wrong, said Tsunade, as she saw him looking concerned. What is this? Are you okay, Menma? Asked Hinata. It's something weird. He couldn't explain it, but his entire body was afraid. He didn't know what this feeling was. Meanwhile, a distance away, as Katsumi came to a stop. What is wrong? The masked man asked. Don't you feel that? Feel what? This presence. The man shook his head as she looked towards her hands that were shaking uncontrollably. What is this? She said to herself. He narrowed his eyes towards her. Meanwhile, The barrier finally cracked open as Naruto stepped out. Is that enough? Said Naruto. Yeah, said Urza. We might have a chance of winning this after all. But how? And when? After what happened after I left. I spent 10 years engrossing myself in nothing but training. You trained? In what exactly, she asked. Otsutsuki's wasn't known for training. They were all born with their immense power that grew over time. And it's not like they practiced in fighting. They did fight, but not for a means of getting stronger. They always consumed the fruit. It bolstered their chakra and not to mention, extend their life. Although some of them specialized in fighting, none of them was really able to push themselves. But Naruto has done something that she never thought that was possible. You know, I'm starting to believe that the legends are true. Legends? Well, if the power of the Otsutsuki God is true, perhaps you're on your way there. Perhaps training is what we lack. I know, feel a whole lot better. At least I have more hope believing that we can actually do this. And end this once and for all. We'll just have to wait until time comes, said Naruto. What just happened? Sasuke asked. I thought you guys were gonna fight. Oh, there's no need for that, said Urza. He's already shown me what I need to see. Tsunade looked confused. As Naruto turned his head towards Menma. You felt it, he said. What was it? Menma asked. As his hands were still shaking a bit. As Naruto walked over and kneeled down, he patted Menma on the head. It was just your grandfather showing off, said Naruto. But there's nothing for you to worry about. That was your power? But why couldn't they sense it? You're different, said Naruto, as he gave Menma a smile. Hey, Naruto, said Urza. What is it? Is he your only grandchild? Yeah, said Naruto. What's wrong? Well, there's something nagging at my senses. It was just a flicker, but it was like he was here, but at the same time all the way across the planet. He doesn't fully know how to control his power yet, so perhaps it was him reacting to my power. It's quite shocking for the younglings, he said. Yeah, perhaps you're right, said Urza. She didn't know what it was, but for a moment there she felt a flicker of someone being affected by Naruto's power. Because of her barrier, the other humans could not feel it, but people like them could. Perhaps she was mistaken. Time skip. A couple days later, as Urza was currently helping out Mikoto, as she was helping her doing the dishes, putting them away. Mikoto would invite them all over for dinner. Urza was able to meet her properly, and also meet her son Itachi Uchiha. He was quite a pleasant person, kind, humble, and gentle. She had met her younger son already, who was Sasuke, a nice boy, but a bit arrogant. Well, she couldn't blame someone for being arrogant. Mikoto was also a pleasant person. She was rather nice. But there was a reason why Urza decided to help out. It's because she wanted to talk to her in private, while Naruto wasn't here. So Urza said. Are you ever gonna tell him? She asked. Mikoto looked towards her confused. Excuse me? She asked. Naruto has been my best friend for a long time, and from what I come to know about him, he would not go for opportunity, even if it's right in front of his face. And given recent events, he doesn't believe that he is deserving of love ever again. Why would you say that? Because I know him. He won't open his heart back to anyone else, because he thinks that he's a failure, because of what happened in the past. He told me that you knew about it, unlike most of the people around here, and the kids. It would paint a bad image of anyone, despite your goodness to know that you slaughter innocents. Well, to people on this planet. But he will not openly come out and say anything. Trust me on that. Say what? Said Mikoto, acting innocently. Come on, I see the way you look at him. The way he makes you smile. The way you feel happier in his presence. He's not gonna say it first. He's not gonna outwardly say it, because he doesn't think that he deserves it. But trust me, he does. And I can see that he likes you as well, but he wouldn't say it out loud. Mikoto looked towards her before she released a sigh. It's weird, you know? I mean, I thought I would spend the rest of my life with my husband that passed Fukaku. And when he fell, I thought that it would not be anyone else. I had my children, my boys to focus on. But then he come along and now things are just different and complicated. And I don't know what to do. Promise me that you won't tell him any of this. Oh, don't worry, I can keep a secret. And it's not my place to tell him. But I assure you, you're gonna need to say something first. Because he won't. But I can tell. If you do make advances, he will not turn you down. But it's up to you. And I don't have to tell you what kind of wonderful person he is. You know I'm a bit jealous of you. Of me? Oh, you have nothing to worry about there. Well, you two, yes, we are close. But the thought of being together with him, it doesn't go over well with me, or him either. It's more of a brother and sister relationship, despite us not actually being related. And I just want him to be happy. He's been through so much. So much that I was unable to help him with. But now I can do that and help him. But as I said, it was up to you. Take the time you want. I don't want you to be rushing into this because I say so. Thanks, said Mikoto. What are friends for? We're friends, said Mikoto. Well, you're his friend, so I see you as a friend as well. Mikoto was happy about that, as she gave her a smile. Time skip. The place was filled with Genins, as all of them were there. The Chunin exams was going to begin in 2 days. Everyone was there to nominate their Genins. As Sarutobe hadn't said anything yet as he was waiting for all of them to gather up. All of the Jonin senseis were there, until a voice echoed through the room. Yosh! Most of the Jonins groaned. A rather youthful day, isn't it? As Guy walked inside, until he spotted, Naruto, he said, as youthful as ever I see. I am still waiting for that day when we properly encase ourselves in another rematch. This time, I will show you the full spirit of my youth. I hope so too, said Naruto, hoping that this would be over with. Naruto didn't know why, but he could feel like Kakashi was somewhere laughing. And that pissed him off. Hiruzen saw that the situation was not favorable for Naruto, as he cleared his throat. Alright, I'm here to get the nominees for this year's student exams. So we'll start off from the beginning, if you'll be nominating your students for the exams. As Hiruzen started off from the teams below, until he reached up to Team 7 as he looked towards Naruto. All of the Jonin senseis looked towards Naruto, Kurenai and the others. They heard about Team 7. Not to mention they heard about the mission report, that Naruto was able to completely obliterate the Sky Nation in one attack. Many did not know his background, or who the hell he was. All they knew was that he was Naruto. Guy had gotten many questions from many of his other Jonin's fellow, but they had received no answer because Guy didn't know either. And the others never approached him. He was like Kakashi in some regards. He only had a few friends, one of which was Mikoto Uchiha, and a few others, but not that much. And most of them didn't know exactly who he was. But there was rumors going around, which many people were trying to confirm. As they all watched him, Team 7 will be participating. As Hiruzen nodded, Team 8. As Kurenai looked towards him and gave him a nod, yes, Hokage-sama, Team 8 will be participating. As he then looked towards Guy, my team is shining with the springtime of their youth, he said. I think that's a yes, said Naruto. As Guy nodded his head, as Hiruzen went on to talk about other teams. Once that was done, they were all dismissed. As they were making their way, Guy was making small talks, as Naruto was trying to just nod along. He realized that they were not alone, as Guy was nudged aside by Kurenai. Ah, yes. Naruto, I see that you have not met some of our youthful comrades. This is again Jutsu Mistress of Konoha, Kurenai Iwai. A pleasure to meet you, said Naruto as he held out his hand. He was rather formal, it seems, as she shook his hand and smiled. It's nice to meet you, she said. And this is Asuma Sarutobe. Asuma looked at Naruto as he raised his hand. As Naruto shook his hand, nice to meet you, he said. So I finally get to meet the Jonin Sensei of Team 7. Asuma said, I heard that Team 7 has done a 100% successful mission rate. I guess you have a lot of confidence in your team, said Kurenai, speaking after Asuma. Yes, of course, said Naruto. But I also heard that you've been in a joint mission with a few other teams to aid them in a recent mission to Land of Wave. Yes, said Naruto. I heard that you left your team to face off against a rather dangerous opponent. Well, if you don't have confidence in your team, what's the point? Well, isn't that dangerous, Kurenai asked. What if they weren't ready? Well, I made sure that you were ready. But Hinata is... I heard about you, said Naruto, as he looked towards her. I heard that you were her caretaker. Her father gave you that job. Is that right? As Kurenai nodded, I've hardly get to see her nowadays. But I heard that she's doing good. And that's all because of you. I want to thank you for that, she said. Well, she's a bright, smart, powerful girl. She just lacked the confidence to do so. I'm trying to help her regain that confidence. They have pushed her down so much. But it's time for her to wise up and get back to her feet. Kurenai smiled at that. She was glad that Naruto was looking out for Hinata, because she was worried when she heard that Hinata wouldn't be on her team, and she'd want her to be a part of her team. She had gotten Soccer Haruno, the girl, because of her low chakra reserves. She was easily able to master it, and Kurenai was teaching her Genjutsu, and the girl took a knack for it, like a shine. Kurenai was amazed by her little protege. Well then, I guess we'll just all have to witness the upcoming Chunin exam to see how Team 7 really is. I assure you, said Naruto, they won't be disappointing you. Well, we'll just see about that, Asuma said. Meanwhile, that was going on, as Team 7 was currently indulging themselves in some ramen, as Naruto had told them this morning that he will be nominating all of them for Chunin exams. As they all believed that they were ready, Hinata's confidence had been slowly rising, as she felt happy with herself. But it was all because of her sensei. He has been making her talk to the official people even on missions. That was severely, not on protocol, but he made her do it. But he gave her the confidence to talk to her father in a matter without stuttering. And he was able to notice that right away. And she did not disclose all information that Naruto taught her regarding the Byakugan. He seemed to know a lot more than even her father. She was taught many things that she hadn't disclosed to her father or her entire clan yet. She had heard about the Chunin exams and what they had to intake. She was sure that her team would make it to the finals, and they would be ready. As they said goodbye to the Ichiraku family, as they made their way off. So what now, Sasuke asked. Naruto had told me to take it easy. They had been pushing themselves for the longest time now, to be ready. And he told them to take it easy for the remaining 3 days, so they did not overdo themselves for Chunin exams. Allow their body time to rest, which they were currently doing, so they were just enjoying the scenery. Until they heard a voice. Come on, where's a good place around here to eat? I'm starving. As Minma heard that voice, he turned his head. Hinata looked towards him as she wondered what was it. When they saw a girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, as she was walking with her 2 teammates. It was E, along with her 2 teammates Saya and Yakumo, as they were making their way. They were here early for the exams. Teams are already flocking in. I guess teams are already coming here, said Sasuke as he watched the 3 of them. As the girl eyes locked with him, as E smiled at that as she made her way forward. I never knew that Konoha has such cute eyes. Sasuke looked at her, as she said that so bluntly, no hesitation in her tone. You're not too bad looking yourself, she said, as she looked towards Minma, as Minma's eyes locked with hers. As E went quiet, she felt something wrong. Minma felt it as well. He shook that strange feeling off. He decided to be a kind person. If you want somewhere to eat, there's a ramen stand back there. Nah, I don't really like ramen, said E. Well then, there's a whole lot of places around here for you to eat. Well, given that we're not from your village, would you mind showing us around? She asked. As Minma looked towards Hinata and Sasuke, who simply shrugged and one of them nodded. Sasuke doing shrugging. As he decided to show the girls around, they brought him to the yakisoba stand. They brought them to the jerk stand, and many other places around Konoha, to show them where they can get something to eat. The girls were fascinated by the variety of foods here, especially Yakumo, and Saya. The Hinrin didn't have such accommodates. Kano had a lot more though. E, for one hand, had been all around the elemental nation, so she had seen this and beyond. Sasuke was busy talking to Hinata, while E2 teammates were talking to each other. Minma looked towards her. "Have I met you before?" he asked. "I'm sure I'd have remembered someone like you," she said. "I don't think so." As Minma just looked at her. "I feel like I met you too though. It's weird, but I haven't met you before," he said. "Yeah," Minma said. He didn't know what it was, but there was just something strange about it. "Well then, we'll be going now. Enjoy your meal," said Minma. As the three of them walked away. "Hey, what's wrong?" asked Yakumo. "I don't know, but I intend to find out. You guys stay and get something to eat." "But you were the one saying that you were starving." "Yeah, but there's something I have to do first." As E made her way after them. Later that day, as Minmo was making his way back home, after separating with Hinata and Sasuke, he just could not shrug that feeling that he met that girl before. But he just didn't know where he met her. Meanwhile, unknown to him, E was following him. She had this ability of completely erasing her presence, that no one could sense her. That is why her father said that she was the best person to infiltrate the leaf. Her father also gave her another mission. Look for the one that they call the rightful god. She couldn't believe that guy really exists. She thought that it was just a myth, but it was real indeed. White hair, shocking blue eyes. That was a common look, but her father said that he will stand out amongst other people. After all, if his power was anything to go by, he could feel someone's power, even if they kept it at bay. And that was the strange part. She could not feel anything from this boy. It made absolutely no sense. She could feel there was a small smudge of chakra there, but if that was the chakra that he had, he couldn't even be walking, because he would lack too much chakra to do anything. It was like he was being suppressed, and she couldn't figure out why. As he continued to follow him as he was making his way towards a large mansion, she decided to scope it out until someone else came out. "Hey, big sister Urza." E blinked as she heard her code name. But he wasn't talking to her. He was talking to a white hair, clear eyes. The features looked similar as E tried to scope out this woman's chakra. She was sure that this was not the wrathful god, but she wondered if she was connected to him some way. As E tried to scope out her chakra, but something was wrong. She felt something strange. An endless pool of power that made no sense. It was compact so tightly, she could barely feel it, but at the same time, she could feel it all at once. This made no sense. It was like your power was different from other people here. Urza snapped her eyes open as E stepped back. Did she see her? No, that wasn't possible. No one could see her while in this state. She erased her presence, and including herself as well. It was like she was a ghost. It's better to stay safe, as she started back away. As she then bumped into something, she blinked in confusion as she looked up. "Why? Are you watching us?" E stood there frozen. "Yes, I can see you," Urza said. Her Byakugan was activated as she looked towards E. E decided to run, but Urza raised her hand and wiped over E, sapping the chakra away from the jutsu, the technique that she was using. As her body returned, as she saw her hands, she looked up towards Urza. How did you do that?" "Who are you?" Urza said as she blinked in confusion. "This girl. It was you." She remembered when she was telling Naruto to go all out, and that power that she sensed. It was her. "Hey, what's going on?" said a voice. As Minma came back, as he looked at E who was standing there. "Hey, I know you. We just spoke some minutes ago, didn't we? E, right?" As E looked at him, she did not say anything. "Why did you run off like that?" Big Sister Urza asked Minma. "Well, this girl was following us and watching us, and I want to know why." E couldn't believe that she was caught so easily. She was supposed to be the best. Her father said that when it comes towards hiding her presence. He was going on to the voice. It was then that E felt it behind her. She was able to feel the same thing as Urza, but this power, it was different. As Naruto paused, he looked down towards a small girl, who looked at him, rather perplexed, and also a bit scared, as Naruto blinked twice. "How are you doing that?" he said. "Huh? What is she doing?" "She's scoping out my power. Despite me hiding it. Just a small bit though." "Who are you?" said Naruto, as he knew that she was caught. What the hell could she say? "Naruto," said Urza, "I once asked you if he was your only godson." "Yeah," said Naruto. "This girl, can't you feel it?" As Naruto narrowed his eyes at her, his Byakugan sprang to life, as his blue eyes vanished, and Urza saw them. The description. It was him. As Naruto looked back towards Minma, Minma was confused, as he saw them looking at him and then back at his new friend E, who was a nice girl despite not being from the same village as them. "JJ, what's wrong?" "But that's impossible," said Naruto, as he could not understand what he was seeing at the moment. The chakra was similar, so similar in fact, it was like they were brothers and sisters. But this made no sense. How could this be possible? I knew I sensed something strange. It was this girl. But this makes no sense. As Naruto stooped down and looked directly in her eyes. "Who are you?" he said. But guys, if you end subscribe right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.